Hello. Hope you're having a good day. Welcome back to Echo Ministries Daily Devotional. We continue to look at ultimate authority because maximum freedom is found under God's authority. In life, there's interesting times when we have relationships. Have you ever known a know-it-all? You know what I find interesting about people when we find a know-it-all is that sometimes we don't realize they're that way. We actually, when we first meet them, we think, man, this guy is just really smart. This guy's got it all figured out. And then all of a sudden, after a while, you get to know him, you realize that this guy really doesn't have a clue what's going on. And you realize that, they're not full of knowledge. They might be full of something else. And I'll let you put whatever you want to at the end of that, of what they're full of. But then we realize that, that we missed it. We didn't read this right. That nobody could possibly know all that this person seemed to know. No one except but God. Today I want to talk a little bit about God and who He is. And see, God is all-knowing. That means that He's perfect in all of His knowledge. He has infinite knowledge, is aware, and fully understands all things. Wow, I can't even comprehend exactly what that means. That's awesome and scary. He has never forgotten to study for a test. He's never... I locked myself out of my office today. God's never forgot His keys in His office. The fact is, we can't even begin to understand who God is. See, life can be frightening until you realize that God isn't like us. With Him, there's never mistakes. He's never confused. And that's because He's all-knowing. He really does know everything. There's an Old Testament passage I want you to check out today. As you flip in your Bible, once again, this is in the Old Testament, Isaiah chapter 40, verses 13 and 14. That's Isaiah chapter 40, verses 13 and 14. But if God is not like you and me, then the question is, what is He like? And how can we relate to Him? Here's some thoughts I want to share about who God is. Because God's knowledge is infinite and perfect. God never needs to learn anything. His knowledge is way beyond ours. Great passage. If you want to pause this now and read Isaiah 55, verses 8 and 9. That's Isaiah 55, verses 8 and 9. Since this is true, how silly it is to think that when we try to hide things from God, like our thoughts, our motives, or even worse, our actions, and we think that He's not there, then there's no place for us to hide. God knows every detail of our lives. There's absolutely nothing that escapes His attention. Nothing at all can cloud what our all-knowing God sees. Once again, read Psalms 139, verse 12. That's another Old Testament passage. Pause it down and read Psalms 139, verse 12. The most outstanding fact about God's all-knowing is that He knows every detail about us, yet He still loves us. Romans 5:8. If you're looking for a passage, that's Romans 5:8. Think about this. Not one of our thoughts is outside of His knowledge. Psalms 139:4. There's no secret place where we can hide from God. We can't play hide and go seek. That's one, I guess, the ultimate something that God cannot do. He'd really not be very good at hide and go seek. With God, we'd lose every time. God sees through every front that we try to put up, everything that we try to boast ourselves up to be. So many times I don't understand why we as Christians, we want to wear masks and try to, like we're trying to deceive God that He doesn't get who we really are on the inside. We may look like we're trying to get away with something, but the fact is, God will see us. Another part is that we can have confidence in God. Read John chapter 6, verse 65 through 69. Once again, that's John 6, 65 through 69. Here we see the confidence Peter has in Jesus. The confidence that Peter had in Jesus. Yeah, he had his ups and downs, but later in life, Peter was committed to ministering to others. After being released from prison for preaching and ordered not to witness again, Peter boldly said in Acts chapter 5, "We must obey God rather than men." Where did he get such confidence to take such a strong stand against the worldly establishments of his day? He was convinced that God knew what was best for his life. He was willing to take and put his trust in God, whose wisdom and knowledge is perfect. So the question today is, what about you? Will you take a stand at your school, in your family, for Christ? Do you have that kind of confidence in God's knowledge and in His wisdom? Because if you do, God can be a great God of comfort. I encourage you today, trust in your all-knowing God. Thank you. Talk to you tomorrow.